Hey everyone, I'm Ash. I'm the founder and CEO of Artium Academy.
One of the most hyped recent technologies has been blockchain, which is a decentralized technology that powers Web3 and crypto projects. But did you know that the very first large scale use of decentralized technology was a project called Napster? And it was built for sharing music files. In fact, you could say that music played a big role in moving the internet economy forward, from creating decentralized file sharing networks to pioneering streaming services like Spotify. Now, finally, technology is coming to disrupt the way you learn music, and a company at the forefront of this revolution is Artium. Artium is an edtech platform for music learners. They have built a custom technology stack that allows them to train music learners across the world. In this episode of the Founder Thesis podcast, your host Akshay Dutt talks with Ashish Joshi, the founder of Artium, about the amazing product that he is building. Stay tuned and subscribe to the Founder Thesis podcast on any audio streaming app to understand how disruption happens.
So I did my BSc from Navsari in Gujarat, then appeared for entrance exams for MCA and MBA. And I took MCA because MCA course of Somaya had 100% placement. So I took MCA because I wanted to, what do you call as, get a job after my college. I actually got through a campus placement in Patni Computers, PCS, which used to be Narayan Murthy's earlier. I mean, one of the interesting companies out there, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's where Murthy and his co-founders used to work before they quit and started.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes, yes. So I went through PCS. PCS used to come to our campus every year, and everybody who gets to PCS had a career. So we got the pre-placement offers in July of 2001, actually. And we were all partying hard. अब लाइफ सेट है, कोई टेंशन नहीं है, कैंपस में हो गया. एंड सितंबर 2001 के अंदर almost all of us got our pre-placement offers back. We were all left to fend for ourselves, and we were finding our feet. And उस जमाने में कैंपस में एक कंपनी आई थी who wanted sales guys for technology. So tech sales, pre-sales in technology kind of a profile.
Like a solution selling kind of a.
Solution selling guy, yeah, yeah. So pre-sales in tech. And I jumped at it and I said, listen, so they said they wanted MBA systems guys and not MCA guys. I said, give me a chance. I'll do a much better job than your MBA systems guys. And that's how they took me on board for a 6 months induction program. And this, we will see you for 6 months and we'll see if you're good enough. And that's how I entered sales, pre-sales in technology. That's how I started my career.
And what was this company? Was it like making custom built software, or was it selling a product, or
Yeah, so it was a ERP product company. It used to compete with likes of SAP and JD Edwards and Barn in those days. They had an indigenous ERP solution for Indian companies, custom made for Indian companies because of the way we function in India. So and focus on manufacturing units. So one of our biggest clients was Sun Pharmaceuticals in those days. So I joined, then signed up Agenta Pharmaceuticals, and a lot of pharma companies is where we provided our ERP solutions. And we also used to provide in very early days. There used to be SMS-driven flight tracker, flight information. You write a sort of a code and seek information around cricket scores and stuff, etc. Very early days out there.
that five-digit number to which?
Absolutely, absolutely. The short code we used to call it short code. So complete SMS-driven solution is what we used to sell. So I actually moved to a company called Mises Infotech, which was an IIT Bombay incubated company. So those guys were the pioneers in what today you call as telco-based content management, content delivery systems that you see the world of vast value-added
Like live cricket scores and.
yeah value-added services that you see around telecom solutions, right? So Mises was a pioneer in that space. So I remember we delivered the first content platform for Loop Mobile in those days, which was BPL Mobile in Mumbai, जहाँ एक रिंगटोन डिलीवर करते थे हम लोग. So you send a code, short code, and then you get a ringtone delivered onto your phone, right? The monotone sound, monophonic tone actually. So that was the first solution that we delivered. So I was with Mises for 2 years, Mine was a business development, pre-sales kind of a role out there. Very interesting sales and BD combination out there. So yeah, from there I moved on to join Hangama, Hangama.com, Mobile. Hangama Mobile was in 2006 the number one value-added services company in the country. At Hangama, I was head of India operations, looked after telco partnerships, OEM partnerships, delivered kiosk-driven content through planet ends of the world and all. So very interesting. Again, 4 years of my work life out there, from 2005 2009.
Hangama, is it like a funded startup kind, or is it like a part of a bigger group, or what is Hangama like?
So Hangama.com in those days, of course, was started by a guy called Neeraj Roy. But Neeraj came from a sort of investment background. He was backed by Rakesh Junjunwala. So Rakesh Junjunwala had funded Hangama in those days. So he used to sit on our board. So even today, Hangama.com, Hangama Mobile remains to be one of the largest media companies, content-driven media companies. Hangama has its own OTT app, both for music streaming and but they have not been able to compete with likes of Ghana and Savan on the music streaming side, or the Netflix and Prime, Amazon Prime on the video streaming side actually. But Hangama still is a pretty significant company in media tech space actually, even today. So, of course, those 4 years of Hangama was like a crash course in the media space. And if you look around today, I must tell you, Hangama's contribution to the industry is Eros, Eros International Digital CEO is from Hangama, or some of the top music guys in the industry are Hangama. So, Hangama almost was like a sort of the foundation of your media tech space in that sense, right? So, everybody who worked at Hangama is doing something of significance in the industry. So 4 years of Hangama was like a crash course. And from there, I moved on to join Universal Music, the world's largest music label, in 2009 when there was a point of inflection in digital music streaming space. Right? Globally, the music labels were seeing decline in physical sales and digital was growing. So they hired me as a head of digital for South Asia and I started building very interesting properties at Universal Music. In fact, at Universal Music, I got genuine exposure to the business of music globally. I used to travel the world. I got exposed to the way the streaming business happens through Spotify and iTunes partnerships. Did launch a couple of very interesting consumer-facing initiatives in India as well. So did very interesting stuff around that. One of the things that I must mention today, people claim of doing master classes as one of the largest. What do you call master class globally is a very interesting platform where maestros come and deliver master classes. 11 years back, I launched a product called My Story on voice with Universal and Airtel, where the music maestros would come and deliver this, I mean, a 1 hour session where they will tell you stories about how a song came up and the backstory of the songs and stuff, etc. And those ads used to feature during IPL alongside Nokia's ad of Shah Rukh or Priyanka Chopra, right? So first time ever, the musicians of this country got recognition, and their ads were featuring on mainstream television, right? So again, that was interesting. So again, 4 years at Universal was an interesting story. And then I thought of moving to the consumer tech side because so far I was more on the B2B side, the businesses side, the music and distribution side. And I moved to this company called Dingana, a music streaming service, to head their business development. Dingana in those days, it used to be Silicon Valley based startup started by two boys from Bay Area, Indians in Bay Area, ex Yahoo guys. So Dingana was almost like a bootstrap product, but in no time they started competing with Sawan and Ghana and even became bigger than them in number of subscribers. And as a product also, they were very good.
And it was a subscription-based product, like a paid, not ad revenue. Okay.
No, no, right, right. So I was on the label side, right? So we were actually distributing our content to these partners, and I loved Dingana, so I joined them. In a year's time, Dingana got acquired by RDO, and then RDO got acquired by Pandora later on. So I joined a private equity firm called CA Media, and CA was Peter Chernin's Asia arm for investment. Peter Chernin, if you don't know, he was the COO and president of News Corp. So Rupert Murdoch hand, the man who made Avatar and right. So one of the big media moguls in the industry, and he left Scop and started his private equity firm called the Churning Group, TCG Group, and the Asia arm was called CA Media. So it was run by some of the
They used to invest in media companies.
media companies. Yes. So Endemol, Shine, OML, Graphic India, Fluence were the investments. So Fluence was a 100% incubated company by CA Media, and they were looking out for someone to run that company as a CEO, as a head of the business. So I joined Fluence to run the celebrity influencer network. Again, 2013, way ahead of its time. We had signed up with Mr. Bachchan, Salman Khan, Sachin Tendulkar, Priyanka Chopra, Mohanlal, Rajnikant, you name an artist. And we had signed up with all these guys and introduced them on digital world. Digital, rather, we laugh about it today. In those days, we used to call largest celebrity digital network. We didn't know that we were actually creating the largest influencer network. Today, the word influencer is so prominent, right? But we actually created the largest influencer network around celebrities. And I still remember Salman was using 1100 when we introduced him to Twitter, right? So very interesting days of Fluence. Was there for 2 years, built a very robust business. And by that time, my friends from Dingana, they were onto the next startup called Mezzi. Again, out of Valley. Mezzi was Nexus Ventures Partners backed, Summer Capital, and all those guys came on board later on. A cool startup focusing on creating an experience for shoppers. So it was a AI led human assisted shopping concierge service, which later on pivoted to becoming a travel concierge platform, completely AI driven out there.
So, what was, I mean, what did you identify as the white space, the opportunity?
So I'll tell you honestly, this thought occurred to me in 2015 for the first time about a platform for music education. One of my friends, he was also very keen to do something like this. So we realized that India is so deep, diverse, and rich in music. Probably we are richer than any other country when it comes to musical pedigree or the depth that we have. We have 14 languages and we have music across languages. Our average consumption of music is above the world average. Despite of so much of depth and diversity and richness, we have not had a music education platform synonymous to what you see in the West, like Berkeley's or Royal Scottish School of Music or Juilliard's or whatever. While there was a Shamak Davas Dance Academy that all of us had heard from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, franchise model, everybody knew about it, but there was nothing in music education. When I started digging deeper into this, we realized that music education in India is perceived to be tapasya, sadhana, etc., etc. Whereas research,
Ah, right. It's more traditional, huh? Well, you join one of the gharanas, huh?
yes, yes. Whereas if you do research, more than 96% of people are learning music because music to them in the mental world is what gym to them in the physical world, right? Everybody has their own reason. The kids are learning because it's scientifically proven that it improves your cognitive side. It gives you a sort of a impetus to right brain, which has got direct impact on the left brain growth. You get a point? So confidence building and stuff, etc. That's why kids learn music. A lot of the working class people, they learn music because music is healer. It helps you elevate your mood, and you want to perform better in your karaoke session or your next party or whatever, etc. You don't want to become Sonu Nigam or Shreya Ghoshal. That's not the aim of the 96% of people who are learning music in this country, right? So if that is the case, then why do we have to give a size and shape to music learning, which is so serious, right? So we started digging deeper, further, and we realized that we had more archaic traditional learning methods, more theoretical driven method, right? So, for example, let me tell you, I'm born to a mother who was Visharad in Hindustani classical. So my mother was Visharad in Hindustani classical.
What is this term you're using? Visha what?
It's a degree in Hindustani classical. So I used to love singing when I was a kid. My mother used to teach me just casually. She never taught me actually because my father, like many of the fathers, believed that it was waste of time to learn music. Doctor, engineer, lawyer, CA na bane to kuch na bane life. I used to, so music was in my genes. Now, but by the time I grew up to become a little, my voice matured to be an adult voice after 16, 17. I used to sing better than my mother because my mother learned theories of Hindustani classical more than the practicalities of singing in that sense. And that probably is a case in many cases. People who give exams of Visharad and etc. So ours is more theoretical, little traditional, archaic methods of learning, which I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not passing a judgment on that part. But we realized there was a need for a performance-driven curriculum to be launched, which prepares you to perform better as a singer, perform better as a keyboard player, perform better as a guitar player, because all you care, you're learning to perform either in front of your friends, either in karaoke session, either in a party, in office, or for yourself. So if that was the need, then there was a requirement for a performance driven curriculum. And with that in mind, Akshay, we realized that if we were to go out in the market and say, hey, listen, we have arrived with the first ever performance driven curriculum, people would say, who are you to even preach that? So we thought there was a need to build a sort of an academic board, first of its kind, where we sign up the maestros of the industries, music industry, to come together, and they all become like faculty heads in their academic board, and they put their heart and soul in designing these curriculums. So they are the authorities. So when you know that you are learning popular film music course designed by Sonu Nigam, or a Hindustani classical course by Shubha Mudgal, then you know that someone has put in heart and soul in doing something. There's some work which has gone behind this. We also realized there was a need for a finite music curriculum. Usually, what happens is most of the music learners, they keep learning forever without any finite goal. So you do not know what you're investing for, right? So we also gave a size and shape to the curriculum, and we put out the whole thing. Now, Akshay, so that was a sort of a research which went behind, and I realized there was a need for a performance-driven, structured music education platform where the curriculum has to be designed by the maestros, delivered by teachers who are performers of their own accord, trained by these maestros to deliver a sort of a structured curriculum using technology again, because we realized that India is not a country where you can build a brick and mortar business in scale, and we were reaching out to global Indians from day one. So tech had to, and today you and I are chatting over technology, and you are almost feeling like we are sitting in person, right? So the idea was to use technology to deliver an in-person experience, in-person elevated music learning experience to the learners.
And like, so essentially, you're building an edtech for music. That would be.
Yeah, you can say that. You can say, I don't know how many listeners would love to listen to the word edtech nowadays, because yeah, I mean, you can say we are in a music tech space, to be really honest. Because music education was existing, we are using technology to elevate the experience and therefore break the barriers of geography.
So, what was your 0 to 1 journey? Like, how did you convert this idea into your launch? What did you launch from this idea?
So, to be really honest, Akshay, and it might sound sort of pompous, but having been part of startups earlier, I spent a lot of time in researching in a manner that I don't have to keep reinventing or pivoting the model as far as possible. So far, we haven't had the need to pivot or probably change the model. We were clear from day one that we wanted to be academy first, vertically deeper. So I didn't want to become a horizontal ad tech platform in that sense, basically, or a extracurricular platform. So academy first, vertically deeper, and I was clear from day one. In fact, before we launched our MVP, we had already signed up with Shubha Mudgalji and Sonu Nigam ji. So we were clear from day one that we wanted the maestros to be the part of our academic board. We wanted to have academic board, and then we wanted these guys to become sort of faculty heads out there. So that part was there. So the few things I'll tell you, which were very clear from day one: academy first, vertically deep, music only, maestro-led curriculum designs, performance-driven curriculum. So there was a lot of. So let me give you some insights as to the work which went behind in preparing for an MVP. So, few realizations that I had, Akshay, very early on is that in performance arts business, if you purely apply business sense or business logic, you're not going to get anywhere. You have to have creativity built in from day one. It's performance arts, right? So people have to believe in your depth. They have to believe in what you're building from that perspective. So therefore, very first sign up, or I wouldn't say sign up, but someone that I acquired as a full time with us were two guys, a guy called Abhijit Patil, who had 16 years of experience in designing music education program for kids. So he was our first employee. Because as founders, we realized that we didn't have the depth of music pedagogy, right? That was important to build. Then the second person who we got on board was Anant Vaidyanathan, who is our chief of pedagogy, India's finest voice expert, probably the leader in voice expertise, with 40 plus years of experience in music education. So he became a chief of pedagogy, right? So with them, we built a lot of depth in what we were trying to offer to our learners. Then I knew that building a music education platform means depth in technology. Now I had two options. Either I hired a CTO and then built the entire team ground up, which would have taken me a year and a half more, right? Or else figure out how to go about building an MVP with the help of all the techie friends that I have had by virtue of my experience in the past. So I partnered with one of my friends and built an MVP, which was good enough for me to go out in the market and offer a one-on-one live experience, right? Obviously, Zoom was integrated into our ecosystem, so video conferencing was sorted using that as a platform. And also, we were clear that CTO in a tech company is like a bahu that you get in the house. She can make or break the house. So I took maximum of time to hire my CTO because I knew the guy who comes on board has to be the one who is the captain of my ship from a tech evangelism perspective out there. So we hired a product head from Silicon Valley. She sits in Silicon Valley. Again, why from Bay Area? Because in the depth of product understanding in companies in Bay Area is much better than the depth of product understanding in Indian companies. So that was one of the things. And our CTO is what we hired 8 months after we launched, or rather 6 months after we launched MVP. So few things we were clear. We built brick by brick. One more thing that Akshay we were clear about, many people would have advised us to go with at least five, six, seven stream genres of music to be launched. We just went one by one. We launched Hindustani classical first. We went popular. So within vocal also we went genre by genre launch because we realized you need to build depth in word the pedagogy from one perspective. Secondly, understanding consumer behavior was very important. Even behavior with technology and whatever advancement that technology needs as you scale up, as you progress, also comes through the learnings of individual. Every course, by the way, demands differently. My guitar and keyboard has different demands on technology as compared to my some of the vocal courses, right? So we learned brick by brick, built brick by brick, sorry, and learned block by block, and that's how we built the entire ecosystem. Our popular film music, Hindustani classical, remained only two courses for 7 months. Then we launched Hindustani classical and Carnatic and South Indian film music. And this year in March or April, we launched guitar and keyboard and tabla.
What is the kind of packaging and pricing? Like you must have got like say 20-hour course for X rupees or what? Like what is the?
Yeah. So it's simple. All the courses, basis the genre that you decide, is between 18 to 24 months long course with an assumption that you will take one class a week. So four class a month. Okay. Every class is 1 hour and you pay 750 rupees an hour if you're an Indian customer and 1,000 rupees an hour for advanced course. 750 is basic and 1,000 is advanced course. If you are a international student, you pay $25 for an hour and $30 for an hour for advanced course, basically.
So it's not like a fixed course, like say like a Carnatic film music course for X rupees, and this includes this duration.
Yeah, so it is fixed course. That's what I said. So it's 18 to 24 months. So depending on what course you select, for example, Hindustani classical is 24 months, popular film music is 18 months. You pay either on monthly basis, quarterly, 6 monthly, yearly, or the full course. If you pay for the full course, the percentage discount that you get is higher as compared to a monthly or a quarterly course that you take from us. So the course duration is fixed.
Why offer monthly payment? Because that would cause churn then, no? Like I'm sure that monthly renewal rate will not be 100%.
Yeah, no, so interestingly, Akshay, and I knew because I was learning music myself, by the way. During 2 years of honeymoon period with MX, I started learning music also myself. So while I was learning music, I realized that music has a level of stickiness. If you cross the first four classes, if you ask anyone around you who is learning music, if you just learn for 4 5 classes, no, then the minimum time they learn is 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. छोड़ते नहीं लोग. Music learning has very interesting stickiness, which is established out there. So the idea was to give a sort of a sachet based packs to people initially to come on board and try us. Obviously, as we speak today, as we are evolved, and 85% of subscribers in our ecosystem are paying us for long term, we are thinking of actually removing monthly payments completely. So, what you're suggesting, we are taking as a serious, it's a deliberation that we are going through right now. But that monthly pack was almost like increasing our funnel or top of the funnel for us.
Probably your customer acquisition cost would have gone down. You would not have had to spend so much in onboarding customers? Because if you're selling a course with a single big ticket price, then you would need a sales team, like a telecaller team, which would be calling customers, and you would also have to spend a lot of money on Facebook ads and so on, like performance marketing and so on. So some of those costs would have got cut down by doing this.
No, so to be really honest, cost of acquisition probably is definitely improved over a period of time. Like any other ad tech platform or any other platform, we are also keeping vigilance on our CAC, cost of acquisition. Of course, some of the innovation that we are talking about has helped us reduce our CAC heavily. Our sales team is very limited. Demo operations team also is very limited because we have built very interesting product features out here. So therefore, from that perspective, I think our CAC has definitely come in control, and we are doing better than others for sure. But what is good for us is our retentions are upwards of. Okay, so let me put it this way: in last 18 months of operations, we have had less than 2% people asking for refunds.
But what would be the renewal percentage? Like, what is the average duration? Like somebody who's joining the platform, how many months does he pay you for?
Yeah, so our more than 85% of people have been learning with us for more than a year now.
Okay. So out of 100 people who join, at least 85 of them do more than a year of classes.
And I'm saying the other 15% have not left us. They are inactive.
Okay. Like they could renew or they could join back, huh? Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. For them, the money is with us. They're not asking for refunds. It's like a gym membership. कल जाऊंगा, परसों जाऊंगा. I will start. They want to start, but just not getting time to start.
What is your CAC LTV ratio, that customer acquisition cost and long-term value of customer? Like,
It's a little confidential, but I'll still tell you that we are an upward of three.
and what is your like major way to acquire customers? Like, do you do it through performance marketing, or do you have like celebrity endorsements, or what are some of the strategies to acquire customers?
We focused on acquiring the nine gems, Navratna of the industry. Was also to with them you also get the social media presence of theirs, right? So between all of us celebrities put together, we have more than 35 million subscribers on social media. We get a lot of organic traction internationally and domestically that our celebrities put, and then further we invest very small amount to further boost that post out there. So that I call as a pure play organic traction and traffic that we get. There are inorganic methods that everybody else is using, the typical ads, GDN and Facebook and Insta ads that you do otherwise, performance marketing based actually. We've also figured out very interesting growth hacks. We've partnered with some of the platforms internationally and promote to them. Celebrity social media, of course, is one of the biggest. We've also started promoting our what I call as the content-driven marketing, which is what you invest one time, but it stays on for a long period of time, right? So, Akshay, we partnered with Warner Music to promote our talent onto their network and launched a platform called Artium Originals. So, I promise to the learners, Akshay, is that we deliver an experience to you of learning, and in that journey, you take the path from a learner to a performer, and performer to a potential influencer. So now, with these guys, we are creating original content, original songs with our teachers, with our students, etc., which you put out on social media, on YouTube, on all the digital platforms and distribute. That also becomes a sort of acquisition channel for us.
And these are posted on your handles, like when your learners are producing.
Yeah, it is on.
That is a very good hack. Now every person will promote it to their circle, and that way your channel will automatically get more views and subscribers.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if you see, we are actually one of the biggest playground of raw talent, right? We are actually nourishing and nurturing those raw talent to become the talent of future. Even our teachers, Akshay, even the teachers that we have had on board with us are some of these guys who have been on Indian Idol and Saregama and Z, all those reality shows. So they are performance par excellence.
So this is like your version of placement support. Like traditional edtech companies, may they have a placement support. They say we'll get help you get a job. So your version of help you get a job is help you become an influencer.
Absolutely. So that's why we are saying, that's the journey that you take with us. We have built our entire technology around three components. One is the learning part. So all the key elements of enhancement of learning experience are built through our learning part. Then there is a performance. So you practice and perform. We also allow our students to perform fortnightly on a performance platform. So they do live performances to a larger audience. They invite their friends, our community. So
And your performance platform is RTM Originals.
Artium, no, Artium Originals is actually is an influencer platform. That's a last block. Performance platform is a platform through which we conduct our master classes, we do a live showcase events and stuff, etc. After they have done performance, they're groomed enough. With them, we curate a song, we do a sort of a digital single with them, we shoot, and then launch on RTM Originals, which then becomes a sort of a window to the digital world that you can get distributed on iTunes, on all the OTT platforms, on all the streaming platforms, on YouTube, etc., etc.
So somebody who's getting into RTM Original, so their RTM Original is like a music label for them.
Absolutely. So I wouldn't like to call ourselves music label because that's not the territory we want to go. But we are more like a publishing platform for them. We are almost like a platform where our ambition is not to become the label. We want to become a platform to curate and distribute genuine talent and give them wings to fly.
But like RTM Originals are distributed on Spotify, on like all of these platforms. You like anybody coming on RTM Original is now also going to be available on Spotify and so on and so forth.
Absolutely.
And they start earning also, like Spotify pays out artists. So
Yes, yes. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
okay, amazing, amazing. Okay, okay. But this would be, I mean, is this like a music label has a deal with an artist with a certain time period, like for 3 years you have an exclusive deal. So is that the same with RTM Originals? That when you identify high potential talent, then RTM Originals will have a deal with that talent for X number of years, and you will manage and produce and distribute and have a revenue share and all of that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So the idea is that we are creating IP in partnership with an artist, technically, right? We are investing into IP. So the IP of what we are creating with them remains with Artium, where Artium keeps a very small margin because, like I said, I don't intend to make a serious amount of money out of it, but passes on a large chunk of revenue with the artist, right? And we in turn have back-to-back partnerships with. I mean, there's a company called Global Music Junction, which is one of the largest distributors of digital content in India. They have a partnership with Warner, so we have partnered with these guys who are then distributing our content across platforms, basically.
What is the role of Warner here? I mean, why don't you directly go to Spotify or Apple Music and all? Like,
No, so we directly go to Spotify and Apple Music using Warner's channels purely because Warner potentially is. So I'll tell you, there are two layers. Warner is partnered with a company called GMJ, Global Music Junction, which does the digital distribution for a lot of Warner content. Okay. Now, these guys have very interesting revenue shares with all the partners, right? And I wanted to leverage the depth, the distribution prowess, the revenue share, etc., which is difficult for me to build. See, a lot of people put in hours and years.
yeah, yeah, it'll take you years to build.
Absolutely, years and years to build something that they have built, right? Where my intention is not to do something on my own from scratch. I would rather leverage someone else's efforts and partner with them and use the depth to garner maximum traction, maximum eyeballs for my artists.
And this music which the artist produce, it's your, like you own the copyright to it.
Yes, the IP of that belongs to us.
Okay, okay. I mean, so this is also like a long-term asset, like this catalog. Eventually, this catalog can also be monetized.
See, this is something Akshay, I have done it as business. The distribution part of the whole thing, I've been in music tech side for years. I understand this business. What the education part, which is the first part that we are doing, is tougher, right? So we are choosing to do the tougher part first, and the latter part of the whole thing is something which comes naturally to us. My co-founders, Vivek Raicha, is also from the media industry, right? He spent 10 years of his life as an operator with Star, Viacom, etc. And then he was with CA Media as an investor, later on with KKR Group, invested in media-focused assets and companies, right? So we have a lot of depth out there in terms of our understanding in this space, basically.
In the long term, will you earn more from education or from the distribution business?
See, it's a very tricky question, to be really honest, Akshay. We do not want to digress right now from the origin of what we are trying to build. The entire distribution piece, the performing and the influencing part that we are building is to get maximum traction on the learning part. So, for example, if I was to give you a very loose examples, like every year Akash became popular because few of the guys were going on to become the IITG's top rankers out there. So more people started believing in Akash tutorials, right? That's the closest example I can give you. We want more and more people to believe that Artium Academy is one platform which is serious about music education. We are truly building the gold standard of music education in that sense. And therefore, I mean, one of the other things that I keep saying is we want to become the Harvard of music education. हार्वर्ड में आपको बेस्ट कैंपस मिलता है, बेस्ट फैकल्टीज मिलती है, बेस्ट लर्निंग मटेरियल मिलता है, एंड ऑल्सो बेस्ट प्लेसमेंट प्लेटफॉर्म मिलता है आपको. Now, in this process, actually, in this process, if we end up creating a large community of people on our platform called Artium Originals, potentially we could morph into something else which is bigger. But right now, we are not. We are using Artium Originals as a top of the funnel to have more and more people falling in love with Artium.
Although, I'm guessing if you get like these breakout stars like a Sonu Nigam, these level of stars on RTM originals, that could be like a massive. I mean, it could be much bigger than the education business.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I'll give you one example of Akshay, what we're thinking. The performance platform that we built today for our own internal talent, where they are performing live in front of the larger audience. Tomorrow, a lot of the artists could use this technology to perform live to a global audience, right? In that process itself, we might end up creating the largest fan interaction network, right? Not what stops me from then giving out this platform to any artist to perform. Akshay, if you are an artist, you can start. You do Insta live, right? Right? You don't need to do art in live because I'm going to give you a curated performance platform, and then you garner your fans out there.
Like there is Substack for writers, so similarly, like the Substack for music performers is what you could build with the performance platform.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes,
Okay,
yes.
amazing. Which would also help them monetize through ticket sales and all, like something like that.
So then, though, and you're nailing it. I'm loving the way you are already thinking ahead because you can monetize it using, you could create your own dollar club, crowdsourcing. Pay me $1 and I'm going to give you content for the entire year, etc. Right? You could do ticketing out there. Absolutely. Do ticketing type. You could have a TikTok model. So you give 10 rupees ke flowers, 15 rupees of flowers, tokenized stuff, etc. Right? You could do completely brand funded content. So, you could build a channel and say, what, my Coke, say, एक crore रुपए ले लो और वहां से फिर then you run the whole thing. So there are multiple models of monetization once you create a sort of a fan interaction network.
So tell me about your economics of the model right now. What do you earn right now? What's your right now?
Yeah, so we are already 1.25 million plus in ARR, and we are growing 20-25% month on month.
1.25. How much is that in rupees?
That would be around 8, 9, 9.5, 10 crore rupees. Yeah.
Okay, pretty good. 10 crore annualized 10 crore. Yeah, got it. Okay, amazing. And
Yeah.
how have you funded it so far?
Yeah, we've done two rounds of funding. Seed round, we raised 750K. In pre-series A from companies like some of the institutional investors like Whiteboard Capital, Jet Synthesis Group. Sonu Nigam, who is our patron in chief, also invested in that round. And then we had very interesting, I mean, very good marquee angel investors then. Then we did our pre-series A round led by Chirate Ventures. We raised $3 million led by Chirate, and then Whiteboard Capital, Jet Synthesis prorated in this round. We also got Anicut Capital, again an institutional investor, to join hands with us in this round. We also got very good marquee angels like from Mama Earth, from Zomato, the co-founder, and to be FinTech's co-founder, Nafrazo's co-founder, Vikas Dusala. So very interesting bunch of people who have come on board with us in this round. So yeah, I mean, we are scaling up pretty fast. I mean, one of the things that we are looking at as a focus area, Akshay, we are planning to expand heavily for international audience, Indian expatriate population outside India, where we see more sincerity of learning from their side. Their need to stay rooted to Indian culture is higher than Indians in India. Okay. And their sincerity is pretty high. They are all, see, the kind of class is also pretty high internationally. And the second biggest market for us is South Indian population in south of India. The love for music learning is of a different level. Music to them is pious. It's part of the culture. So they're very sincere about learning music. So the two markets have we identified. So we are going behind them. Already 15% of our total subscriber base today, as we speak, is international. Without having too much spend too much of money on international market yet, because we just raised the capital. Now we are expanding in international market. But that's our organic growth.
What is your breakup of costs? Like, what percentage of costs is paid to the instructors? What percentage do you pay to these influencers who are designing the curriculum? What percentage is spent on marketing? Just help me understand that.
No, so with all the maestros, we have a deal which I genuinely can't talk about, but it is more of sort of. I mean, you can understand. We signed up the deal with maestros before raising our seed round of capital when we were bootstrapped. So you can imagine. But yes, there is no revenue share there. These guys have taken one-time fees from us to curate the curriculum, and we have a 3 to 5 years relationship with each of these guys. Sonu Nigam, of course, is a patron in chief. He has invested himself, so the relationship is very different with him. He's almost like a co-founder in that sense, basically, right? So that is definitely different relationship out there. With our teachers, we pay around 50% of the revenue share per class, basically. 50, yeah.
So remaining 50% you're left with, how much of that is spent on marketing? How much on tech and operations and overheads and all that? Like,
See, we have close to 40% gross margins on this, right? Because if you remove components of teacher payout and some discounts that we offer on each of the class, etc. So of those 40%, I mean, we have marketing expense, content expense, cost of acquisition through marketing, of course, and that kind of stuff actually.
at scale, what do you expect your margin to be?
In 4 years of time, when we are aiming to be at $180 million in ARR, and at that point of time, we'll be at 30% margin.
And this $180 million, you're talking of purely education revenue, not the distribution revenue, or a mix.
Yeah, so 80% of revenue will come from one-on-one live classes and one-to-many live classes. So we'll introduce 1 to 3 or 1 to 2 at some point in time for sure. So 80% will come from education. We also expect to do sort of a model where we'll have curated content in a linear fashion made available to you, pre-recorded content.
Like a self-learning course.
Self-learning kind of a course, yeah, of course. Obviously, it's an extension, right? We could even introduce some of the hybrid models where two of the class that you take is one-on-one, and then there's one class which is self-learning, and again, then you take two. So it's a hybrid model that we introduce out there.
Right, right, right. And these are basically ways to make it affordable.
Absolutely, absolutely. So through these models, we'll take another 10% of our revenues will come from pre-recorded kind of sort of master classes and all that stuff, and last 10% would come from the other models of business that we have estimated.
Which sounds like an underestimation. No, you're saying just 10% will come from distribution. To me, distribution seems very exciting.
Unfortunately, we live in a world where sometimes when you are too ambitious and you're talking too much, VCs feel that you're all over, right? You're trying to build multiple businesses together. You're not focused. Sometimes when you undermine, underplay all that you're building, they feel that you're not ambitious enough out there. So we genuinely feel and see between all three founders, we have 60 plus of experience, professional experience. All of us have 20 plus of professional experience out there. So we believe in first building a very robust business model with what we are doing. Stay grounded. I always say, Akshay, I tell this to every VC, we are not playing a T20 game. So don't expect tremendous growth every month. Neither are we playing a test match. We are playing a 50 over game in which in first 10 overs of power play, we'll hit the ball out of the park, which we did. Okay. From 2 lakhs to 70 lakhs of revenue, 80 lakhs of revenue in a month in 16 months is not bad for sure. Now it is time to build the innings, middle overs, by building amazing learning experience, build tools around it, offer extension of what learning, so all these performance platform, influencer stuff, etc. और लास्ट 10 ओवर में फिर छक्के मारेंगे.
Yeah, yeah, right, right. So I'm curious about the name you chose for your business of Artium. Can you help me understand that?
Yeah, so Artium is the Latin name for the word art. When we were building a platform around music education and vertical deep platform, we were not too sure whether we'll go vertically extremely deep or we might build a horizontal platform. So we wanted to make it a neutral name out there, and therefore Artium was the name chosen out there. But if you were to ask me what is Artium, Artium is we are building the gold standard in music education. using the depth of modern pedagogy and technology to elevate the learning experience of a learner to deliver almost in-person experience. And in that process, a learner takes a journey from a learner to a performer and performer to an influencer. So that's what RTM is all about.
Competitors in this space, and then I lead up to how you are doing things differently from them, and that's when this can be even. So help me understand the landscape. Like, whom all are you competing against? Are there other like edtech for music or edtech for like this performing arts space?
So there are many. No one specifically in the model that we are operating. So there are a lot of aggregator platforms providing music education as a service. Yeah, Urban Pro hai. In fact, you have Whitehead Junior, which is also providing you coding, you providing music. So there are horizontal plays.
So what are you doing differently from them?
So yeah, I mean, before that, I'll tell you. Actually, our real competition is the offline learning that people learn offline, and people who believe online learning is YouTube learning. These are two real competitions, right? Because this category is large enough, it is more than a $10 billion market, performance arts business actually. Out of that, music itself is 4 billion in that sense, basically. So this is large enough category. See, what has been happening in performance arts space is that everyone expects you to deliver a live, free live class, a demo class.
Like the first class will be free to give you a taste of the course. It's part of the sales process, basically.
Absolutely. But unfortunately, 80% of people who book your free class, a live class or demo class actually, they don't turn up, causing serious heartburn amongst teachers. Because there are live teachers,
Yeah, because teacher का time blocked है. हाँ.
उनका ब्लॉक हो गया है, 80% नो शो होता है, फ्रस्ट्रेशन होता है, वो बेचारे बैठे हैं, अभी आएंगे, एक्सेट्रा एंड ऑल. That also reflects very badly on the regular classes that they're taking for the paid customers. This is exhausted teacher, thaka hua teacher, etc. And their interest level, their love and affection and warmth for the brand also reduces over a period of time. So this is one major issue plaguing the industry. And that concept has worked wonderfully well.
These academic experts would be like semi-professionals who are not at the teacher level, but they are still trained on that specific kind of music.
They are teachers turned professionals. So they were teaching music at some point in time. They are genuinely experts. So आपको जब क्लास उनसे लो, in fact, they will deliver better experience because they are experts of their exponents out there. So whatever they are, so we have got people who are pretty good in their understanding of music. They are the guys who are trained to deliver almost, I would say, flawless demo experience, a standardized experience to our learners. है ना? तो कोई भी आदमी डेमो लेने आएगा हमारे साथ, they will experience the same level of depth of RTM that you will experience otherwise.
But you are protecting your teachers from all this slightly dirty job. Huh?
Yeah, and now what has happened is now suddenly teachers are enthused to put in extra efforts in their classes, and that is delivering delightful experience for our learners. That in turn is engaging them further with us. That in turn is helping us grow organically because there is more word of mouth happening out there, right? If you see, it's a vicious circle. If you deliver a very good experience at the time of someone joining, and trust me, Akshay, most of the guys believe that जो बंदा आता है उसको अपने टीचर को मिलना होता है. ऐसा नहीं है. If they trust you, see, with all our maestros, we have built a brand around RTM. People trust us. There's trust factor out there, right? So all we got to deliver is that people need to understand what is a free class all about, what is a curriculum, what is the RTM methodology, etc., etc. That we deliver through RTM academic expert model, and then we deliver the class students. I mean, we give subscription of a student in the hands of the teacher, and teachers start teaching actually.
Have you done something to reduce that 80% no show?
Yeah, so there is also a model. I'm giving out too many trade secrets right now, Akshay. But there's one more model that we have built in our structure, which is called as what flights airlines do: multiple booking for the same slot. Now, this is where technology comes very handy. So we build a completely structure, I mean, automated model, जहाँ पे for every slot we are booking 2 or 3 demos. Now, because our demo rate itself is 20% out of 80, so 1 in 3 or 1 in 4 is going to turn up. But there could be a potential case where two in same slot might turn up, and none of the guys in other slots will turn up in that sense, basically. If there are three guys, four guys sitting out there, right? So my system automatically sees a free expert and diverts that call. I would say call means the guy who's landed on our video conference platform to that expert, and expert takes over.
So basically, like for example, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., you have three or four experts who are available, and then the system is automatically routing demo classes to them based on who's available. And most of the times, there is no. But there could still be a case where you have more people logging in than experts available.
Trust me, if that's the case, we are in a seriously good business for sure. So far, Algo is working pretty fine, but we also have a hack for it. Is if there is a situation there two people land up on the same slot, and not more than one expert is available out there, immediately using our CRM solution, our system alerts our sales team, our operations team, and the guy gets a message on the dashboard that hey, please wait, someone is going to reach out to you right away, and a call out happens, and we'll apologize and we will reslot him on some other slot.
Because that is costly also, no? Like because the teacher is still to be paid even if the student doesn't turn up because you block the teacher's time.
Absolutely.
Do you measure NPS and what kind of?
Yes, yes. We have 6.4 as NPS right now, which is not bad.
So how does the student experience the classes? Is it a mobile app? Is it like through the desktop? What is the?
No, so we are web first so far, and I also genuinely believe, Akshay, if a student is going to lie down and take the class lying down,
You can't do it on a mobile. Yeah. You have to sit in front of a table.
हाँ जी, मतलब you music तो कम से कम आप you can't learn like that actually. Then you are doing disservice to yourself, right? But we are coming up with a mobile app to enable student to practice using the content that we are giving them through a practice studio we have built. So we also built a practice studio for our students, which will allow the students to practice with, for example, you learned sargams ya bandish in the class today. The content come and sits in your dashboard after you have gone. और वो आपको प्रैक्टिस करनी है. So the unit तानपुरा, तबला, metronym, all those widgets out there. That's all built in your app, right? So you play with that, you practice. Once you're done Riyaz, you can record your Riyaz and send it as an assignment to a teacher. Teacher gets that assignment on their dashboard. They assess the assignment and they send feedback to you with annotating on minutes, 1 minute, 10 seconds, you went flat here, you went, etc., out here. So we are also solving the problem of, in an offline world, you meet your teacher once in a week, and then there is no communication happening between you and your teacher. Through a platform, you're constantly interacting with your teacher between two classes out.
And that feedback is very less because मतलब, once a week you will play in front of your teacher. बाकी घर में जो आप करोगे, there's nobody giving you feedback.
Absolutely. This is one of the problem areas which you see out there. Let me also give you a couple of things that we are doing, which is very unique as compared to anyone else, Akshay. Of course, this practice studio I'm talking about. So the app allows the consumer to practice and all. App allows you to schedule your classes. So everything minus taking live classes is what we are offering on the app as of now, right? For class लेने के लिए आपको desktop पे जाना पड़ेगा. Yeah. Now we have moved away from Zoom as a platform. We built our own video conferencing platform. Now it's a question that I get asked multiple times as to why do we need to reinvent the wheel? We are not reinventing the wheel. We have partnered with someone who has white labeled the whole solution for us, but it's custom made for Artium in that sense. But what we're doing is today in a learning experience, actually, when I'm teaching you right now, for example, if you're my student, I when I'm teaching you vocal, I start my tanpura or metronym from my app on the other side. तो क्या होता है ज़ूम पे या तो मेरी आवाज़ या वो तानपुरा एक ही लीनियर स्ट्रीम होता है. One tends to negate the other, killing the experience. What we've done is we built our own video conferencing platform, which allows you to put all these widgets on the dashboard itself, and using socket technology, teacher can start tanpura at his end. Parallelly, the tanpura at student's end also. So when he sings, there is absolutely no lag between tanpura and the singing. And last thing we are building right now is that Akshay, every parent whose kid learns would love to know what are they learning. So of course we have built very interesting scientific progress graph, learning graph. So on different parameters how your kid is learning and stuff, etc., which is happening. But we are also building a sort of a tool within a video conferencing platform which will allow. So अगर मैंने आपको सरगम सिखाया है अभी, आपको बोला अभी आप सरगम गाओ, तो जब आप गाते हो, teacher will be empowered to record that piece.
and share with the parent.
And as soon as the class is over, by default system will share with the parent.
And probably you could put your branding in that video so that when the parent is circulating on WhatsApp groups, वो सबसे पहले तो family WhatsApp group में ही जाएगा वो.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it's all watermark stuff actually with our logo and stuff. So we have now. So these are small things that you evangelize, which will change the experience of a learner and make them fall in love with you.
So right now you're doing Indian music, right? What about more stuff for which there is a global demand, like more regular, like say jazz and saxophone and guitar also I think you already have, but like for a global audience, are you looking to build more courses?
So I'll tell you, Akshay, we have built all the vocal courses, including Western vocal as well. So there is Western vocal included in our thing. Our keyboard classes has got pop, jazz, all the components. Our guitar classes, so Western instruments are also there, right? Now the winds instrument like saxophone and all needs a lot of tech evangelism to be built in. So like I was saying, everything that we are doing, for example, when you do keyboard class with us, no Akshay, our keyboard reflects on the screen. What notations your teachers are playing actually, right? That's a delivery of a different kind, right? So every instrument that you introduce needs certain level of hardware software integration to give the experience that a consumer will otherwise experience in offline world actually.
How do you do that? Like, how does the student see what keys the teacher is pressing on the keyboard?
So it is we've built the entire technology which is allowing the media integration into our software, and we built in a manner that the half portion of the screen gets taken over by what you're playing, and teacher also sees what the student is playing at the side basically.
And what about for guitar? Like, is there something similar?
So guitar, no, guitar is still something that we are trying to figure out. It's still a little bit of a look and feel out there, but there are components that I definitely can't share here. But these are things that is part of my R&D right now that we are working on that will offer. So basically, it allows the laptop to have a. It's like camera setup on your laptop. It gives you 360-degree view of your laptop, right? So tomorrow, if somebody's not having a MIDI integration out there, and when he's playing, it reflects on my screen, so teacher knows exactly what the student is playing when he's doing out there actually. But listen, a lot of when you are right, a lot of the Indian customers today are learning Western music, and they are signing up in expensive schools, either globally or locally, or they. So through our platform, nothing stops us from getting the best teachers from LA and Western world, offering Western courses to the Indian consumers out there. So that's definitely in the roadmap, not in immediate 2 to 3 quarters for sure.
But you need a lot more funds because you then need to have those Western influencers signed up to really draw in consumers.
But see, I'll tell you honestly, Akshay, if you're on the right path, funds is not an issue. Though there is a winter and whatever the people are calling, if you're in the right direction, you're growing well, you're doing right business right way, your model is robust enough, then funding is not an issue.
What's your current growth rate? Like, by what rate is month on month? Like, what?
We are growing 20 to 25% month on month right now.
Wow, amazing, amazing.
And Akshay, I'll tell you, even to elevate the experience of learning, we have given Artium branded headphones, mics, sound card to all our teachers. So every teacher delivers you experience. They are not singing on a headphone, keeping their head like this and stuff, etc. It's an experience of a different kind. It's professional experience. All our teachers wear Artium branded coatis. So they sit with a coati with the Artium brand on top of it. So you experience truly an Artium experience out there.
Amazing, amazing. What does the sound card do? Like, can't you just plug in your headphone and mic to the laptop?
No, sound card refines the sound further to eliminate any sort of tech glitch that your system can give you output. So it's almost like bettering the sound. See, and that sound card is more required from the teacher's side because teacher has to sing and deliver or play and deliver. आपके यहाँ नहीं हो चलेगा.
Okay. This is like a USB plug-in kind of a sound card.
Yeah, it's a plug-in sound card plug into your laptop.
Okay, amazing. So, what do you think is the exit for Artium? Do you think that it makes sense to be a part of a bigger edtech? Like Byju's is one name, which I know is not a popular name right now, but similar such bigger edtechs, or do you want to remain independent?
See, I'll tell you, if you ask a founder, any founder would say one of the most painful moments of the life was when they had to sell off. I mean, irrespective of what money they were making out of it, selling off is a painful process. I mean, है ना? So, like any other founder, I would really want to love to take this company to IPO. Given that would be my first choice. It we should become a global music education platform, big enough to have an IP of our own, right? Where multilingual education is delivered across. But if you were to ask me who are the set of people who would like to buy a business like ours, obviously K-12 platforms like Byju's and all, already big unicorns like Byju's or Unacademy, those sort of people would definitely want to expand their portfolio of offerings for sure using something like Artium. So that's one option. There are a lot of music labels that I see, global music labels or media houses, interesting in creating interesting amount of talent pool using education as a process. Like I already know some of the big labels in the West are thinking of starting their own music education platform or music education school through that because it's an extension of what they're offering otherwise, right? Or you would say backward integration in that sense.
It's like a PE fund starting an incubator, like say Sequoia has that surge.
Absolutely. So like that, right? So that would be one of the things that I think. So the media houses is what I see. Some of the broadcasters are the set of people that I believe.
So the audience has so far heard your story, which is about 6 to 9 months old. Uh, Give us an update on what's happened in the last 6, 9 months. Yeah, I think actually two things. So we had the vision very clearly that we wanted to become India's first outcome-driven music education platform. What it means in that sense is with our own set of learners, I mean talents which are learners and teachers put together. The idea was to then give them a platform to perform, which we built over a period of time where every fortnight we have performance platform available to our learners to perform in front of larger audience, virtual audience in that sense. And then select few out of them who are really who have the potential. With those sets of people, we create original songs, create video, and release through our platform called Artium Originals. So I think last time when we spoke, we were still in a very early stage, but now we can proudly say that we have launched Artium Originals as a platform, and every week we release new single on the platform, which technically we mean that in a couple of years we might become the largest library of independent music. You know, published through our platform on various DSPs, various streaming platforms, both audio and video put together. So we have a large catalog of IP that we own. That's one flywheel that we've developed. Now, with these musicians, talented musicians that we are launching, few of those guys we believe have the potential to become probably the biggest independent music artists, musicians, who probably will be able to go out there, perform live, create more and more content. Those in today's language we use as creators, right? So those creators, we also sign those people on our platform. We have a creative management agreement with these guys, which what it means is we will have rights to launch them on various platforms and through monetization of their assets on various platforms, there'll be a revenue which will plow back to RTM. Now, again, we strongly believe that RTM Academy will become the fulcrum of the whole ecosystem. But all these tailwinds that we're talking about, or rather the flywheels that we're talking about, will help us create a large top of the funnel. More and more people will talk about the brand RTM, they'll talk about brand RTM, and they would want to come back and learn. We've signed up with almost 21 creators now, which are launched on our platforms, and we'll continue to do that as we progress. You did give the example of, like, say, an Akash, like this test prep businesses, which are again outcome driven. The outcome is you get a rank in IIT. So that automatically drives more traffic to you because you are showing there is proof of success. So you basically want to create proof of success for learners to drive more top of the funnel. And then the other advantage is, unlike an Akash where someone gets into IT, that's its relationship. Right? But here, if someone becomes a musician, you are still going to be able to monetize that relationship as a talent management agency. Absolutely. So the idea is never to become a talent management agency. We want to become the enablers. For example, there are very good talent management agencies
which are doing pretty well, distributing the content and monetizing on various platforms. There are agencies which are providing these talents, live shows, and real time performance opportunities and stuff, etc. We could partner with those people and still make a share of revenues from all these partnerships out, because mm, uh, talent management and being an agent itself is a business in its own way, basically. But we can safely say that we could, by well creating our own IP, we could become the new age digital distribution label of future for independent music in that sense.
How does the IP work? Does it belong to the artist, or is it like shared between the artist and the label?
So some of the cases we co-own the IP, some of the cases we own the IP, but largely the exploitation rights in perpetuity are with us, basically.
Okay. So the artist will get some share of the revenue, you will get some share. Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
Got it. Got it. And this is like revenue from Spotify plays, or if uh, it is licensed,
YouTube stream. Oh yeah.
right, YouTube stream licensing.
Some of the web series would like to pick up a song, or a movie wants to pick up a song, etc. They have a ready library of. I mean, some fans wants to exploit these assets in their jingles, or they want to create something around it. Like for example, I'll tell you, we also venturing in brand led funded content partnerships. So, for example, a lot of these brands today want to use content as a strategy to distribute out there in the market. So we just did a very interesting partnership with Josh, which is not a monetary partnership in that sense. But it was a win-win. Josh is after TikTok probably become the largest short format video platform today in India. They have a huge amount of creators. So with them, around 15th of August, we launched Next Milya Sul Mera Tumhara called Bharat Ka Soul. We published independent brilliant track in 12 different languages. All the people who performed in video format in that video were all the creators of Josh. So Artium and Josh came together to create the largest UGC platform, UGC anthem of country called Bharat Ka Sur. And almost 100 odd million streams of this song we saw on Josh platform. More than 10,000 Josh creators created video and shared the video with us, out of which almost 2,000 of them featured in the video. So interesting partnerships like that will help us.
So I understand your edtech revenue. That is like a subscription for course, very standard, easy to understand. Uh, Help me understand the revenue here. Like, what percentage of revenue do you make from what the song earns on Spotify? And what revenue do you make when there is a concert or things like that? Like, just give me a broad.
It's very early right now for us to count the revenues on those platforms, because we are only creating those flywheels right now. Last year, because Warner Music and a platform called Global Music Junction, which is the largest distribution on digital for Warner Music. I mean, they're the partners together. So we had signed a deal last year with them, but backed by Warner Music. But Warner realized that this is potentially Artium is creating the largest bed of talent of future, and therefore they partnered and said, you know what, we will start publishing your content. So Warner has deep integrations with all the DSPs with their own CMS across platforms. So today, whatever we publish to Warner CMS through using GMJ as our partnership the platform out there, and we do a revenue share between them and us right now. Uh, we have started monetizing all our assets in last couple of months. It's very early to count the money, right? When it comes to the creative management side of the story, uh, we are taking baby steps in that direction too. We have just started getting small inquiries from people who are doing shows to play some of our own talents to perform live on the stage. Those are two flywheels we believe could potentially become big as we go into the future.
Got it. Got it.
I'll give you a couple of data points, Akshay, which is very very interesting. There was a very interesting survey done by Sun in US, where they asked people within the age of 12 to 19 what do they want to become, what the career path they would like to take. 50% of those guys said we would like to become a YouTuber or a blogger or influencer in some way, right? And of those sets of people, almost 30% of people are the music creators. That's aspirant music creators out there. Mm, दूसरा शिफ्ट हमने ऑब्जर्व किया था इंडस्ट्री के अंदर was 7 to 8 years back. Almost 95% of music consumed on any platform, digital platform, was all movie-based content, be it Bollywood, Collywood, Tollywood, Mollywood, whatever we call them, right? Today, major platforms like Spotify, the split is 65-35 in favor of films, and 35% streams are independent music. Now, that's a big shift, right? We are moving towards an industry which is existing in West, which is largely artist-driven and not a film-driven industry out there. With that kind of an ecosystem, where if you see on YouTube in India, let's talk about India alone, 22% of total streams on YouTube are driven by 5% of music content. And 90% of billion plus views are all music videos, music content. Which clearly means that while music creators are third or fourth in category in terms of the creators ecosystem, the stickiness, watch hours, the revenue generation part is going to be very, very high when it comes to the creators in the music ecosystem. And that's one place where I believe we can play a very vital role as a natural extension of what we are offering in art.